Ubisoft released their new Assassin's Creed trailer for the Shadows game that drops, I think, later this year on Assassin's Creed Shadows. And it's the official world premiere trailer, which, I mean, why didn't you just call it teaser trailer? But whatever. So they have decided to take a page from the very successful Ghost of Tsushima and make an open world samurai Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, which is great. I think that that's a great idea. And for the main character, out of all of the historical figures they could pick from their rich culture and history, they have decided to go with Yusuke. And I gotta say, like, I think this is an interesting story to tell, although I don't think any Western, and this is a Western studio, and it's going to be funny when we don't hear any of the major outlets talk shit about this game like they did with Ghost of Tsushima. Because remember, Ghost of Tsushima was one of the worst games ever made, according to a ton of video game journalists, because it was developed by a bunch of white dudes. And they had a literal meltdown over that game. A meltdown of epic proportions. They're not going to say a damn thing about this game, and that's because it stars a black dude. Like, I don't have a problem with this story being told. I actually think it's interesting that, you know, there's a black dude that was either a retainer or a samurai. I don't know. No one seems very clear on that. I tend to lean towards the idea that he was probably a retainer, because that's what most of the historical sites say. But even if he was a samurai, or you want him to just have it be a samurai in the game, I don't see a problem with that. A lot of movies exaggerate history. Gladiator is one of them. Gladiator used real people in history and changed them up big time. So I don't have too much of a problem with that. But let's be clear on why Ubisoft chose him. It's so they can do DEI Japan. All of the usual outlets going wild and crazy, praising it, saying it's the most amazing thing ever, running with him for sure 100% being the world's first black samurai in history, which I don't think is true. Like I said, I think he was a retainer. There's actually an interesting story there that I think should be told, to be honest. I would love to see a movie that's based in truth tell this story, but I don't see Ubisoft is doing it right. They're going to make a ton of changes and exaggerations just to make them, like him apparently, at least according to some of the leaks, saying that he falls into Japan because of a raid on a slave ship, which has him wind up there probably through the wreckage, when there's no history or records of that being the case. He was likely brought in via missionary, but you know, none of that matters with Ubisoft. I'm interested in seeing how this game does, though. But you know, they're not doing this because they're trying to do this out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing this because Ghost of Tsushima, there were people mad, like, that game, they were saying that game should have starred him. Every game that's made in samurai era Japan should star Yusuke. Every game needs to star him. It's always, there's always people in the comments, why didn't they pick this guy for every game? Ghost of Tsushima, people were screaming for that guy to be in DLC or some shit. When Shogun came out, people were mad that he wasn't in that, even though he didn't even exist in that era. But they wanted him to be inserted into it. The reason that Assassin's Creed Shadows is using him is because they see people saying that, so they think, oh, some people are allowed on the internet. That's definitely going to bring in sales and lots of money. So let's change him from being a loyal retainer to a vengeance-driven anti-hero which is what that trailer makes it look like he's going to be. But a lot of people aren't buying their shit. Let's watch his video. Pretty good video here from Kada. And I thought we would take a look at it.
New Assassin's Creed game, and I gotta say, man, I'm not impressed. I'm actually just really annoyed right now. We have two main protagonists, one female, one male, just like Odyssey. We're gonna be using Neo, I hope I said that right, a female Japanese character. And for the male character, they're gonna be using Yasuke. Now, I'm annoyed because they're using Yasuke, and I'm gonna tell you why. Yasuke is what they want to say is the first black Japanese samurai, when in all actuality, he was not even a samurai.
Like I said, like I don't have a problem with the game making him a samurai if he wasn't. It's a game. None of these Assassin's Creed games follow history to a T. But what he gets at, and we're going to go through it, is that they're only doing this for the message, and he's 100% right.
He was a retainer, so he wasn't even a full-blown samurai. And for all of the characters they could have used for Japan, all these kind of different people they could have picked from, they picked Yasuke. Why do they pick Yasuke? Because he's black. So in context, that doesn't matter to me, because in all the Assassin's Creed games, every single character has been of some kind of different race and nationality, so that doesn't matter to me. That's fine. But you have to understand what day and age we're in. You have to understand the kind of social shit that they want to try to get across in these video games now. So instead of using a Japanese man in a game based in Japan, like they did with the other Assassin's Creed games, Altair, he was an Arab, obviously. One of my favorites, Connor, in Assassin's Creed 3, he was Native American, that was fine. And the most famous of them all, Ezio Auditore, who was Italian. So why in all those games would you have a character representative of the region they're from? But in this game, you want to demote a Japanese man and then use Yasuke.
I think that's a really fair point. Every other game got a character from that region, but not this game. And the reason they're doing that, like I said, is because of all these people that post on every Japanese piece of fiction that we get that they want to use Yasuke, and that's who should be in the game because, you know, there was one guy, so naturally that means throughout history in every medium he needs to be there somehow. Put him in a time machine, have him be in everything, every damn story. Anyway.
I understand why. We know why. But they're not going to tell you why. Because if you call it out, you're some kind of ist or phobe or whatever. And since I'm black and I'm calling it out, that means that I must hate my skin or something. You know how they do. I just see this in my...
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. So, yeah, wait till this game comes out. If it doesn't sell well, they're going to be calling everybody racist. If it doesn't do well in Japan, they're going to call people in Japan racist. It's going to be funny, and it's going to happen 100%. And they're not going to give this game any scrutiny, nowhere near the level of scrutiny that they gave Ghost of Tsushima at all. I promise you.
My immediate thought is...
They won't call it anybody that makes it. I don't know what the developer team looks like, but the amount of shit that... Was it Sucker Punch that made Ghost of Tsushima? The amount of shit that they got over that game was garbage. They went after that studio so hard when that game came out. And they're not going to say shit about this game. And that should tell you a lot.
Is they did this for brownie points. I can't think of any other reason why you would have a Assassin's Creed game based in Japan, which we've been clamoring for since the beginning of Assassin's Creed, and then have the main protagonist that is a male be black. I see that and I'm like, there's no other reason than I want claps for it. There's no other reason.
100%. They're doing that because they want brownie points. They're all going to prop this up. I bet you it's a Game of the Year contender, which you know is bullshit because it's an Ubisoft game. There's no way it could be a Game of the Year contender. Ubisoft is shit.
Creed fan. I've played every game. I love every game. And one of my favorite characters is actually Cassandra from Odyssey. So nobody can sit here and say, I don't like women or I don't like diverse people or whatever, when one of my favorite characters is diverse.
They're going to call you racist for
Hell,
this.
Connor Kenway and Hatham Kenway, those are some of my favorite characters from Assassin's Creed. So before the idiots want to start, that's not the reason. The reason is I see straight through this bullshit, and I know exactly why they picked this character. It's annoying. That's like if Ghost of Tsushima, instead of using Jin, they used a white dude. People would be like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
this doesn't make any sense to me.
So Yeah, I totally agree with him. It was a great rant. Did pretty good over on social media. Check out his account. Here you go right here. Give him a follow because he perfectly laid that out. And I wanted to share it with all of you. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this does. I don't know. A lot of people will buy these franchises just because they like them. So it'll probably do well. And like I said, like, I don't care that so much that they're making the game. It's just the reasoning why they're doing it, and it's the conversation around it, especially with these game journalists, how they treated other games like this and the developers that made it, and this game's going to get a complete pass from them. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.